It's the final chapter of 2025, and what a year it's been. Before we step into 2026, it is time to get the energetic forecast for December. What's closing, what's shifting, and what is the universe preparing us for as we head into 2026? Our go-to intuitive tarot therapist, Michelle Nolan, is back to pull the cards and help us make sense of it all. This forecast will help you end the year centered, clear, and ready for what's next. All right, let's break this down, Michelle.
Hi, Robin. Happy December.
Happy December. Oh my God. It's like flying already.
It always does. After October hits, all the holiday madness starts. It just takes over. I love it. There's an excitement in the air.
I
Yeah.
agree. And I would love to know what the cards have to say for the next month.
Okay, let's look at December. It's always a interesting month because we have families getting together. We have the chaos of holidays and movement and change, and we're transforming into the new year. But it's my season too. I'm a Saggy, so I always
I
love it.
know you are. Makes so much sense, Michelle.
Doesn't it?
It does.
I did pull my really wild red deck. It just felt like a wild month. So let's see. Spirit, please open the session for the Seeking Center community and anyone else who is listening. And please allow everyone to have an open heart and open mind to receive these messages. And we thank you for your guidance and your protection and your connection today. As you remember, we ended the month last month with the Eight of Wands. It was an interesting month in November because it had a very extreme beginning to ending, meaning like the very Scorpio went from like delays to all of a sudden, here was the rush, here we go.
You could feel that.
And in Saggy fashion, I always like to say, Saggies don't like to wallow. We want to move on, get to it, and actually just be lighter, have some fun, take some risks, and be social, and just know that life is not as serious as it needs to be all the time, which is antithesis to Scorpio season. But there's a reason for every energy at all times. So let's see what's happening at the beginning of this month. We're starting with the Seven of Cups, the Star, and the Seven of Swords. A couple sevens right there. The energy that I'm feeling right away is with the Star like popping out a little bit more to me. This is like a little bit of a buoyant energy, but it feels different to me. It doesn't feel like fun per se right off the bat. It feels kind of a wish and a hope, like just feeling the peace a little bit of not about it being calm, but about it being refreshed. We're in this moment in the beginning of December. We're saying, I can start looking really far ahead now and start dreaming about what 2026 is going to be like. So I feel like it already has that energy of hope, which I really love that.
Me
Okay.
too.
Yeah, it just feels a little peaceful. It feels a little ethereal. There's a little magic. And I guess the holidays always really have that. But I love this from like a collective space and then also a personal space because there's a touch on feeling healed. There's a look back of the year and feeling like I know now how to protect my peaceful space. I know how to protect that for myself and maybe for my family. The magic in it that I'm feeling is more about the dreaming into 2026. But the blessing, I would say, that I'm feeling is that we know how to be peaceful now if we want that. This month is exciting.
I'm also thinking about if you're someone who's been part of our Seeking Center community and you've participated in or watched on demand all of these different sessions that we've done with so many of our guides, whether it's energetic healing or even this week, we did this loving kindness meditation with Paige Davis, which if you haven't done it, it's something that stays with you and you can use it anytime. I was thinking about it this morning as you are just talking about, I am feeling really hopeful and a bit overwhelmed. So I don't know if that speaks to any of the sevens that you pulled. But
Seven of Cups has a little bit right at the beginning. There's a lot of things going on around you.
that feels, yes. And what I would say to what you were saying with the peace is that if you do this loving kindness meditation, you can do it very quickly. I did it this morning because I am overwhelmed, but then I was able to find that peace. Like we have the tools now, I think, to me is what I'm picking up on from what you're saying.
Exactly. I think like the look back is, oh, I've done this work of knowing how to protect my space, block out noise, know when I need that healing, know when I need that time, know when I need to set a boundary. I feel like that was maybe a lot of the work on the look back. And then into looking ahead, because the star card is really about looking ahead more than anything. That's why that feels like that pops out to me more. But December, even though we're wrapping things up, we're kind of looking into 2026. And I feel like the look into 2026 is that hope, is that, but also with a calmness of dreaming a little bit. I know how to protect myself now. I know where I stand my ground in my kind of energetic space. And so that allows me to feel confident going forward into 2026 that whatever kind of comes my way, I know that when I need to pull back, I will, but I can allow myself to wish. That's the magical piece. The holidays already have that magic. But I think when we're looking at energy and talking about energy, it's great to have a space of making a wish for ourselves, making a wish for the people we love, making a wish for the world at large and the collective, and knowing that we're putting that energy out into the world because that's what we want to receive back and that's what we want to create in our reality. So it feels magical in that way because I think we have a lot of power right now.
I love that. And
Mhm.
also, it makes me think about shining our light. You know?
Yeah, star, like
Yeah,
star in the sky, like
right?
a
Like,
the
so
brightness.
it's that hope and shining that light out into the world. You have that power even on our darkest days. We can find that light. It may be dim, but the more you can concentrate on it, the more it can permeate. And that is our own power and
It
putting that
is.
hope for ourselves and for the world.
Yeah. So as much as I love a saggy, risky, wild session of fire energy, I feel like we're coming into December a little more peaceful and knowing where that boundary is. Because the sevens really talk about the stuff that's around. So it feels like everything else that's going on around us, even if the holidays do get chaotic, when we start getting into that chaotic stage where, oh my gosh, I have to buy all the presents. Oh my gosh, I have family to organize. I have all these parties to attend to, and people are inviting me here and there, and I have to say yes or no. There's something in the middle of that now that I think is different. And
I
that was
agree.
what the star is. I think it's like I can still be peaceful in this chaos. And I feel like that's what we did this whole year.
And I would also point out, which Stevie points out in the December astrology forecast, which is that we are just getting out of Mercury retrograde, which helps us feel a little more peaceful, feel a bit more hopeful as we enter December and then into 2026, which we haven't had in the last few years. We've
Oh,
had
cool.
actually Mercury retrograde in December going into January. So you're kicking the year off with it. That's why we're feeling that calm.
Yeah. And I love it. Even if the stuff is going on around you, like I said, the star to me is a much more powerful, energetic feeling that I'm getting for the beginning
Yeah.
of this year. I think there's something to say about magic, though, because I don't think, in this world that we are talking about, the spiritual world, right? We can say that, use that word, things that are ethereal, things that are the unknown, things that seem to be illogical. But I think there's a lot of real magic. And I think the brightness of that and that things sometimes work out and we don't expect it to work out. Or there are those little miracles that do happen on a day to day or in a season like this. I think we're in touch with that a little bit. Like we know that's real. Yeah.
I want to stay in that. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So what else do we have?
Okay. So that's like how we roll in. And then we're moving into the Eight of Swords, the Magician, and the Hierophant. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about what might be some of the challenge here because we're getting this King of Pentacles. The Magician in the heart of the reading. This is the heart of, so again, magic. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And then the King of Pentacles is the block. So here's what I would say the conversation is collectively that Spirit wants to get us across. This is not a month of materialism. This is not a month of stuff. This is not a month of focus on what you should have, what you shouldn't do, all the kind of tangible things the King of Pentacles would be worried about. Do I have enough money? Do I have enough time? Do I have enough resources? All those real world earthy things. The Magician is here in the middle of this month saying, that is the magic of this month. that there's always enough. There's always enough time. There's always enough resources. You'll have enough money, and you don't have to worry about that so much. I think that's why I was feeling that in the beginning of this month. This idea that partly to do with December is about looking not at the 3D stuff, looking at what were the intangibles that we're creating in this kind of magical space of December. We're actually creating the intangibles. We're creating the connection. We're creating the joy. We're creating the love. We're creating the hope. That's all intangible stuff. When we start focusing, I think the conversation that Spirit's saying is don't forget. Don't forget that this month isn't about all that stuff. It isn't about time. It isn't about money. It isn't about gifts. It isn't about the parties and if I'm saying yes or no. It's about what is infused in all of that. What's infused in all of that is happiness, joy, connectivity, love. That's what's infused in it. That's the importance of what this month's about. So don't get locked in here.
Is really beautiful. And what a way for that to be the heart of December in this reading and the heart of how we end 2025 and really go into 2026. That it's highlighting what is important as a soul, right?
Yes, what's important. And knowing that magic does exist. I'm sure there are a lot of like families out there even right now, right? Who are stressed about, do I have enough for gifts for kids for the holidays? How is it going to be with my family this year? Maybe it's going to feel stressful and dysfunctional. I'm worried about that. And I think the idea here is this is what December is about. Like, this is when there's moments of miracles. This is when there's moments of connectivity. This is when there's moments of there is enough and it all works out. And so to stay in that vibe is allowing us to hold that space of hope. It's holding that space of peace and to learn the lesson, I think, with the Hierophant here and the commitment to this is why we're spiritual people to begin with, because we believe.
Can you explain the Hierophant?
The Hierophant is the larger lessons. This is like lesson and commitment and tradition. And those would be like the three, I would say, big defining words for the Hierophant, depending on what other cards are with it. But to me, I think it's like what I'm picking up for here. It's that commitment to the magic, the commitment to that spiritual realm of the connectivity of the threads that we don't see, how things just work out. And we don't understand all the time how they do. They just do, right?
Yeah.
It's like that commitment. This is the reason we're like this month is feeling to me like this is the pinnacle of why we are spiritual, because we can just believe.
Oh, I really needed this today. I'm sure others listening will feel the same. It's really validation on so many levels, but underscoring why you and I are doing what we're doing, why if you are listening to this, you were attracted to it for a reason, just to also underscore what's actually important. Actually, magic does exist. I believe that so wholeheartedly. And I need to remind myself on a daily basis. And it's conversations like these and messages from Spirit like this that keep me going. And so to end the year with these messages of with the star, having the magician be the center is exactly what we need right now.
Yeah. And I think the Hierophant too, highlighting, I would say, tradition, if we're looking at that. And I know a lot of people have traditions over the holidays. If they put up Christmas trees, they probably do it the same way every year and they have their sacred space around that. If they don't do Christmas and they do Hanukkah, they have their get-togethers and they do prayers. And it's also a tradition of how they do that and with family and all the tradition that we infuse with our close-knit people. We have to remember that it's not about this King of Pentacles. What's this challenge? It's not about doing it right. It's not about doing it a certain way. It's not about it better be this way, the routine that we have done it, because that's how it is. The tradition is about connecting and feeling like something's consistent in your space. This is the time where we reconnect. This is the time where we give thanks. This is the time where we hope about what's going to happen in 2026. This is the time where we celebrate. Instead of worrying about that stuff and we just focus on what tradition really means, then we can appreciate however it flows in that time and in that space for that moment is exactly how it should be.
That's permission to take the way you think it needs to be off the table. And if one thing goes, in quotes, wrong, it's not wrong. Just be together, be in the moment, whatever that means and however that comes together, appreciate that.
And the magic that happens just from creating the space to do that.
That's right.
Even if you fight with your in-laws or your relatives, like that's exactly how it's going to go and that's exactly how it's been. But there's something kind of magical in the fact that this is what we do. This is what we do every year.
Right.
This is what happens. We have the same argument or the same questions or whatever. But there's something in that reminds us that we are connected. There's something in that. So to not get stuck, I think that's why I think the conversation is not to get stuck in the lists, the to-dos, and remember what this month is really about. It's about the magic.
True. It's about the magic and creating that magic in whatever way works for you now, not the way it was. And sometimes those are great too if it works out, but know it's okay if it isn't. You can still have that magic.
Yeah, because the King of Pentacles, when he's in reverse here, and that's the challenge, there's a perfectionist quality to the King of Pentacles. This is how it should be. This is the way it's done. And there's a performance to it. And it's not about that. That's what I think Spirit's trying to get us to understand. It's not about that. It's about the feeling of the anticipation of it, the feeling of the excitement of being around with each other. It's about the laughs and the jokes and the stories that are told. That's the magic.
Oh, such a good reminder this month.
I love the idea of this feeling very magical to me, this whole reading. I don't know, but in a very sweet way, like in an innocent way, almost like how a child would view this time.
Oh, we should all keep that perspective. That's actually huge, Michelle. If you can remember what it was like to experience the holidays as a kid, no matter what you celebrate, have those goggles on.
Exactly. And I think helping create that is a great space to be in because when we light up like that, we're also like lighting up other people like that. And I think the other piece of it that I'm getting with the Hierophant, Magician to the Hierophant, is as we're also like, we're looking back and looking ahead. That's what December is always an interesting month, right? We're looking at the whole year in totality. And then we're already starting to churn those wheels as to what's going to happen in 2026. And I think the Hierophant is here also to say, all right, I'm committed to still looking into 2026 with that vision, with that lens of anything can happen.
Yeah, possibility.
Anything can happen in 2026. It is wide open. It's a clean slate. And if we start dreaming about it now, that's actually the energy that we're going to be bringing into 2026. So Hierophant is about that commitment. There's a commitment there. We're committing to the magic. We're committing to the possibilities.
Okay, I can commit to that. I hope everybody else can too. Let's commit to that.
Let's commit to it.
How are we ending the month?
Yeah, so ending the month, 8 of Cups, Death card, and the Queen of Cups. Flow, honestly. Queen of Cups is all about the flow and the letting go. The 8 of Cups is the release. And then the 8 of Cups with the Death card, that's a big combination of we're just like saying, let it all hang out. Let it all go. And we're just going to flow through the end of the month here and just roll right into January without any kind of strong boundary or action. We know now we can just roll in with this more of that headspace of if we're peaceful and we have hope, that's actually all we need to roll into 2026. That's all we need. We don't need the list. We don't need the resolutions. We don't need this must be how 2026 is. We just hold that space of peace and hope and magic. And that is actually the energy we want to be in at the end of December.
Wow. Everybody listening, remember peace, hope, and magic rolling into 2026. If nothing else, remember that. It reminds me too of that star card, the Magician, and the death card. But I also like to think of the solstice in December, illuminating all of these things. And then what you just talked about, releasing so much.
It's a lot of release there at the end.
Isn't cups emotion?
All emotion, but also it's intuition too. So if I'm looking at this together, it's the knowing that with that King of Pentacles as the big challenge here, that knowing that the more we live in that 5D space, the better usually our reality looks. Okay. So the more we're letting go of the rigidity of things have to be a certain way, things should look like this, the logic of our 3D life, the more that we can embody that energy of the Queen of Cups, which is a really heart centered space of being open to all of it in
Wow.
2026.
Wow. I like to think every day as much as I can. Some days we wake up in a better place than others, but the more you can look at the day and say, what is possible and magic can happen. Like I actually do that. This to me is really the ultimate reading for that and the ultimate way to end the year and enter 2026 in terms of magnifying the possibility and knowing that's real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, knowing that's real and the look back of the lesson, because the Hierophant wouldn't be here if there wasn't a lesson, a big lesson here that we're wrapping up. And that lesson is about believing. The lesson is about belief and how strong and powerful that mindset is, and how strong and powerful that energetic embodiment is. And we don't have to have everything figured out, because if we start there, as that's the blank slate that we're rolling into January with, then we're already opening it to an unlimited scope. We're already starting there. And that's all we need to start. We don't need to have it all figured out yet.
No, and focus on the peace, the hope, and the magic, and that possibility in that respect. And to me, it's also blocking out as much as you can fear, because I do believe we live in this society where it's very easy to get wrapped up in that. But what I love about this whole conversation and this whole reading is it's wrapped in light and it's wrapped in hope and magic. And we can choose to live in that. And we would say, focus on that as you go about this month and you go into the next year. And we're going to be talking about 2026. At the beginning of January, we'll do our annual forecast, which I can't wait for. But as we lead into that, the fact that we're even ending in flow, as you said, is just so beautiful.
This is the first, I would say this is not what I expected of the Saggy reading. Me being a Saggy, that's a little usually more, like I said, buoyant and a little wild and rebellious and like here for a good time. This feels like a culmination of everything that happened in the year. And we're finally, almost like finally emotionally in our heart spaces free. You
I
know?
actually feel like it's the last few years. Like, I feel like this is the most peaceful and hopeful and magical that we are ending a year, beginning a new one in the last several.
Yes. And this is not tarot, but this was the year of the snake. This was a ninth year. And that has a lot to do with wrapping everything up
That's right.
and doing that huge molting and transformation, which would be the death card here at the end. And
Yes.
so there's something with the Queen of Cups. I want to say, like, coming into January, she's soft and vulnerable and has no protection. Okay. That's her way. And so I feel like it is like the snake that just got molted off and she's new. So sure, she can get hurt. She's sensitive. There's a lot of things that could happen in 2026, but she's starting off the year in a vulnerable place. She's starting off the year and saying, this is how I want to go into this year, because I wanted to strip away all that kind of gunk that needed to happen this year so that I could feel this way coming into January.
Well, thank her. Thank
Thank her.
Spirit.
Thank her, Queen of Cups. Yeah.
Thank you. I am so excited.
I love
Really.
this.
I
It's not
know.
what I expected, but I love the magic part. Like, it feels innocent to me.
Oh, that just makes me even more excited for this time because it does feel magical. I love the lights and I love the holiday music even. You know what I mean? There's something
Yeah.
about that
Yeah,
that's
I think
very,
it's like telling everyone, like, just allow yourself to be in that, not just feeling like a kid, but feeling the magic of not putting restrictions on possibilities, on not saying something's impossible, because that's exactly where we should be going into January.
okay, that's how we're ending because that is what we should all take away from today. That and peace, hope, and magic. Thank
I
you,
love it.
Michelle. I
You're
can't
welcome.
wait. We have so much more to discuss coming up. Everybody will be tuning in to that 2026 tarot forecast in early January and have a wonderful and magical December.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Yes,
Be a kid. Be a
happy
kid and believe.
everything. Thanks, Michelle.
You're welcome.
And if you would like to work with Michelle, please email her at m@mtnolan.com. You can also check her out at theseekingcenter.com or within the Seeking Center community. Thank you.